In this video, I want to show you how to use Gemini 2.5 Pro to generate an incoming call from an outgoing call view in SwiftUI. So this code is an outgoing call view using CallKit. It creates an outgoing call screen using the same UI as using the phone app on iPhone or on iPad to make calls. Before we use Gemini 2.5 Pro to convert the outgoing call into an incoming call, let's run the code to see what we have. Over here you have seen my iPhone is connected, so it is going to run on my iPhone. In the console, you have noticed the request has been successful, and on my iPhone in the dynamic island, we have an active outgoing call. I will cancel the call on the phone. So CallKit is a framework from Apple. You can use it to make and receive VoIP calls. If I scroll down, over here they have some code samples on receiving and making calls. So for the code I just showed you, I used Alex and created a new project in Xcode. Then I used this tool. It works in the same way as Cursor. It is an AI code editor which works seamlessly with Xcode. First, I used Alex and referenced the Apple documentation to create the outgoing call. Then I used it again to generate the incoming call. So over here, you have noticed we are referencing the Apple documentation and the outgoing call view with Gemini 2.5 Pro. So I asked the model to modify the code in outgoing call view.swift to receive an incoming call using CallKit. Also, I want to put the content in incoming call view.swift. So it went ahead to generate this code. So I copied the generated code and created a new file and added it in this file. As I mentioned previously, CallKit is a Swift framework for making and receiving VoIP calls. It is supported in UIKit by default and not in SwiftUI. So in our SwiftUI app, we need to configure a class that conforms to UI view controller and CS provider delegate from UIKit. Then we add the following configurations. In the setup provider function, you can, for example, specify whether the call supports video or not. You can also specify the supported handler type. We now have it as generic. If I put a period here, you have noticed there are some other options, email address, or whether we want the handler type to be only phone number. Let's leave it as generic. With generic, the handler type can be a phone number or an email address. If I scroll down further, you have noticed we have other functions that configure the call. So to create an outgoing call or an incoming call, we configure UIKit classes and functions for a SwiftUI app. If you want to try both the incoming call and outgoing call on your phone, you can check the link in the description of the video. So let's go to the entry point of the app, and over here you have seen we are running the outgoing call view. So let's put a comment here and run the incoming call view instead. You have noticed that has also been successful, and we see the call in the dynamic island. I can tap it to show it in full screen. Let's decline the call. So you have noticed here that has been deactivated. Let's ask Gemini 2.5 Pro to do one more thing. Modify the code in incoming call view.swift to use a different ringtone instead of the default ringtone you heard from the incoming call. To use a custom ringtone, you need to supply your own sound. So I want to bring an audio. It can be an MP3 or M4A file. So you can select any of these audio files. Let's use this one. With the audio file selected, I'll drag it to the project. So I will leave it somewhere here. So you need to make sure you add it to the target. I'll click finish. So we now have the audio file in Xcode. Next, with the file selected, you can see we have added it to the context in the AI chat window. So let's add the prompt to instruct Gemini to use the sound file we just added instead of the default ringtone. So you have noticed here the module stated, let's update the CS provider configuration in your incoming call view. We already have all these configurations, and what has just been added is this line, config.ringtone sound. So you have noticed here in the code that is the same. So all we need to add is this line. Let's add it here and save the changes. So we can now go ahead and run the file again. You have noticed we now have the custom ringtone. That is the sound file we added here. So now the call has been deactivated again. If you want to add more functionalities, you can just go to the Apple documentation and see the different configurations you can add. So this is all I have for you in this video. I showed you how to use Gemini 2.5 Pro to convert an outgoing call screen for iOS into an incoming call. We didn't end there. I also showed you how to swap the default sound the system provides with your own custom sound. If you want to experiment with what we did in this video, you can find the source code in the description.